Hi friends, Cassie here. Welcome to the Scrappy Tales and Pearblossom Press collab blog hop. We're going to be showing you how to use the A7 lantern pop-up die. I have one lights there. I don't know why I grabbed one lights because what I'm using are the easy lights, and I'll show you that as we go. But these are the two main pieces. This is a base and the topper, and you get all these fun dies that come in this kit together. And so we'll talk about those as we use them, but to save a little time, I went ahead and die cut out all the pieces that I was going to need. I used some specialty paper by Tonic that's called the Golden Leaves. You're going to need 2 of these pieces. I used 2 of the candles. I also used 2 of these lantern tops, 1 of those little bases, and then look at all those cool things in there. You've got candles and tea lights and just it's a super fun set with lots of possibilities, and there are so many add-ons. I like so many fun add-ons. We're going to make this baby light up, but before we do that, we have to start doing a little bit of assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my paper all along those score lines. We're going to go back and forth just to make it that much easier for all this paper to bend and move as it needs to. And this specialty cardstock is a little bit thicker cardstock, so that is a definite must if you're going to use something like this, is to kind of, work those score lines pretty well. So I went ahead and got those ready. Next, I did the same thing to the top. I'm going to, since this is the top, definitely condition those score lines. There's a lot of score lines on this one. Condition those really, really well because you're going to need to fold pieces in and glue pieces in together. I'll show you what I mean, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense as I say it, but as I show you, and we're going to do a little pinch technique to get this to actually look like a top. So those side pieces, that's how those are going to pinch in, and that's going to make your top. And so we're going to use a combination of not only score tape, but we're going to use some glue. I'm going to use some 1/2-inch score tape, just a little bit of it on each of those sides. And then I'm going to finish that off with liquid glue. The score tape would probably be enough, but I just err on the side of caution. And I know that once, liquid glue takes a second to dry, but once it dries, it usually isn't going anywhere. So I'm going to go right over the top of the score tape as well. It's just like, it's kind of like insurance, I guess, You just don't know if you're going to need it or not. But it's good to have it. I don't want this thing falling apart. So I'm just going to push on that, make sure that's good in there. And then you'll see these 2 pieces. So you're going to want to fold them the opposite direction. And you're going to want to tape those and glue those or either or into place. So I'm just going to use the same situation, just use some score tape on one of the sides and liquid glue as well. And just have to make sure that you put them going the opposite way. That will just aid in how this thing will open and close. And you don't really want to skip this step because then things can get caught and, it's just better this way. So, all right, closing those up, opposite direction. And then, hold those for a minute, kind of squish them. And then we'll set that off to the side to make sure that liquid glue dries. But you see how those are on the opposite side? All right, now we can start moving on to our next part, which would be thinking about the assembly of our base. And so I'm going to use some 1/2-inch or 1/4-inch score tape on this one as well. I'm going to go ahead and put that on both of the tabs, but I'm only going to close up one of them because of how I need to put the candles on the inside. So again, liquid glue, and then just kind of push that into place. These are super simple. And the add-ons that you can get, there's so many fun add-ons, like just so many. And I'm going to be using some easy lights, but you could use a tea light. I feel like the easy lights are just, you guys know I love these easy lights, and they're exactly what they say, easy. So we're going to get ready to start getting our candles ready for the easy lights. I'm going to pop out all the little pieces. And then I had die cut out the candle wicks using some vellum. And the reason I did vellum is because I really wanted the light to shine through. I'm going to color my vellum with some alcohol markers. So I want my flame to be yellow and my wick is going to be black. So I'm just going to take a couple of markers and color these, and I'm flipping some. So the point is I'm going to have one candle facing the right way and and one candle facing the wrong way so that they line up, so you can, butt them against each other, and that will hide the lights. It'll make more sense as we go along. So what I did with the wicks even is 3 of them I'm coloring on the back, and the other 3 I'm coloring on the front. So like I said, this will make more sense as we go. So those wicks are ready. And now I'm thinking about how I'm going to put those on there. And I thought, well, I don't want the red to show through. So I'm going to trim off the flame on my red candle. And normally, if you weren't using easy lights, you could just leave those alone, keep them there. But since I'm going to be having those easy lights poke through there, I wanted to make sure that nothing was hindering the light. So I'm just putting a little dab of glue and then sticking those wicks inside. They're slippery little suckers. I should be using reverse tweezers. That would make this a lot easier. Not that it's difficult, but sometimes it's, a bear to grab those. All right, so we have all 3 of our wicks in place. I like how those turned out. So now we're going to bring in some more alcohol markers and just add a little bit of shadowing and shading to our candles. And doing this on a red cardstock, that's going to dry back quite a bit. And but I'm going to blend with a lighter color. And then for the other one, I color on the back of the candle eventually. And I put that one together just the exact same, but just did it on the back, if that makes sense. All right, so now we are going to attach that to this little base so that it has a place to rest. And I'm just putting glue on the bottom so our candles can sit there. And then this is where I'm going to bring in our easy light because we need to start putting our lights down. You just break those apart and then grab your battery. And then you stick your battery in where the plus side matches the plus side. And there you go. They're all lit up. It's that easy to put them together. And I am going to tell you, I am always checking. Anytime I do something as far as like putting the lights down and moving things around, I'm always checking to make sure that everything is still working. To attach these lights down, I'm just going to use some Scotch tape. Oftentimes you'll see me, if I'm making a card, I'll just use washi tape because it's handy and it's there. But I wanted to make sure that this tape didn't show. And if I had used washi, it definitely would have showed. And this is more of a clear kind of tape. I am going to snip that tape away, but be extremely careful that you do not cut your wires. Those wires are super simple to cut by accident, and the last thing you want to do is do that. So again, checking to make sure everything's working. Make sure I didn't snip a wire. And I'm just fashioning those lights to go right behind the flames and then sticking my tape down. So we have all 3 of those lights right behind the flames so that it looks like our little candles are lit up. So check it out. Isn't that cool? All right. So the next part for me was a little tricky because this is the first time I'd put one of these together. I did cut one more of those little base pieces out, and I'm trimming off the score line beyond because I don't need it to be that thick. And then I'm just going to use liquid glue to adhere these down. I was very cautious about putting liquid glue over the top of the wires, just not sure. Didn't want to hinder those lights in any way. And you wouldn't. It was fine. But now I'm attaching the other candles to the back so that we can cover up those wires because this lantern is a 360-degree view. You can see the whole thing. Obviously, we have 4 windows. And so more score tape, a little bit of liquid glue, adhering this to the inside. So I'm going to attach it to that middle one, or that second one in, and then this other one is going to be attached to the 4th one over. There we go. And I should have, and so as you see here, should have prepared this piece and just attached everything down. And I'm going to redo that. Make sure that everything stays where it's supposed to, and it is. And now I am just attaching my mechanism. That's always the last thing I do typically, is where my button is going to be. So I attach that down usually last, and I just use some 1/2-inch score tape for that one as well. And I'm going to use some more Scotch tape to cover or keep the wire in place. You could use more paper to kind of cover those wires, and I may go back and do that, but it didn't seem to be too visual, like you couldn't see it too much. And now I need to attach the top. So again, I'm going to use some of that 1/4 inch score tape on the 2 flaps. Those are the only 2 that are actually attached, the only 2 sides. And then again with the liquid glue, sorry, I'm kind of off screen here, obviously. But I'm going to set that in there. We want that to be nice and attached, so we're going to push everything, but that's how it'll go in the envelope. And now we need a sentiment to tell us where to push. So I have the Hefty Doodle sentiment. It's the Interactively Yours sentiment that Amanda has in the Pearblossom Press store. I just stamped press here on some sentiment stock, and I have that on white because I wanted that to really pop. And now I'll just put that in place with a little bit of liquid glue where our button is, so that the recipient knows exactly where to press. And check it out, works great. And it'll go flat. Isn't that fun? I love it. I'm so happy with this. And I did make an extra. So I made one using some of the add-ons. We've got our Nativity panel add-on along with our Festive lace crown add-on. And so I used those 2 along with the topper, and I made another one. And I used some specialty cardstock. I'll have all that linked in the description box down below, but check this one out. Oh my gosh. I love this one even more. I wish I had filmed this one, right? So fun. But check it out. I added those easy lights to the 3 stars on the 3 different pretty panels. Press there, and then you can see the star light up in each one of those panels. I'm so happy with this one. Can't wait to give it to somebody, either one of these. They just make me happy. All right, so like I said, this is a part of a blog hop. So head to my blog, go check everything out. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in another video. Bye, everybody.